Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. And right out of the gate, if you are as fanatic about this sport as we are, make sure to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter. You absolutely will not want to miss our coverage this season because, well, we are exactly 60 days away from the kickoff of the Springboks 2026 season.
60 days. It's sneaking up fast.
It really is, 60 days. And our mission today is to tear into their opening matchup, because they are facing the famous Barbarians in Gqeberha, and it is shaping up to be an absolute collision of titans.
Yeah, it's a fixture that represents a fascinating clash of, two completely opposing rugby philosophies. I mean, on one side, you have a machine built on clinical, record-breaking dominance.
Right.
And on the other side, you have a squad that thrives on absolute, unadulterated on-field chaos. That contrast sets an incredibly high-stakes tone for what is going to be a brutal season.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to truly understand the magnitude of this upcoming match, you first have to understand the intimidation factor of the venue itself. I mean, we are talking about the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium in Gqeberha.
A terrifying place to play if you're the visiting team.
Exactly. The Springboks have a staggering, undefeated record at this specific stadium. They've played 9 tests there, securing 8 wins and just 1 draw.
You have to go all the way back to June of 2012 to find that draw.
Right, which was a grinding 14-14 slugfest against England. But since then, it's been an absolute fortress. Coach Rassie Erasmus noted that the average stadium attendance is over 95% capacity.
That's just massive.
It is. To put that into physical terms, last July, 44,282 fans packed in to watch the Springboks completely dismantle Italy 45-0.
Yeah, that Italy game was, well, it was a bloodbath.
It really was, but I look at a streak like that and I have to think it goes beyond, the physical advantage of a loud crowd. Knowing you are walking onto a pitch where the home team essentially has a perfect decade-long record has to create a massive psychological block for visiting teams, right? Like they are beaten in the tunnel before they even step onto the grass.
Oh, absolutely. The physical environment and the historical record combine to create this overwhelming psychological weight. I mean, a fortress venue definitely brings the noise, and 44,000 screaming fans will absolutely disrupt an opponent's line-out calls and defensive communication.
For sure.
But the real intimidation is that baseline of clinical dominance the Springboks have established on that specific patch of grass. Like you said, take that Italy game. A 45-0 shutout in modern international test rugby is, exceptionally rare.
It just doesn't happen.
No, it means the defensive line speed wasn't just good, it was suffocating. It means the opposition was denied any sustained attacking phases or momentum. When an opposing team travels to Gqeberha, that history is sitting right there in the locker room with them.
Staring them right in the face.
Exactly. They know the margin for error is essentially 0. To even have a sliver of a chance at breaking that streak, they feel they have to play a flawless 80 minutes.
And that kind of pressure forces teams to overthink. They start rushing their phases, forcing offloads that aren't there, and ultimately making the exact structural mistakes the Springboks are, waiting to capitalize on.
Yeah, they deviate from their own game plan.
Right, because they feel like they need a miracle just to get on the scoreboard.
The Springboks use that pressure to dictate the emotional tempo of the game before the referee even blows the starting whistle. You aren't just playing 15 incredibly physical guys in green and gold. You're playing the imposing history of the stadium itself.
Yeah.
It forces opponents into a reactive mindset, constantly second-guessing their tactical decisions.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because if the Springboks are this immovable object at home, the opponent they're facing is perhaps the only type of team that might actually be able to crack that structure. We're talking about the Barbarians.
The Barbars.
Coached by former All Blacks coach Scott Robertson. For anyone who needs a quick refresher, the Barbarians are renowned for a highly unstructured, expressive style of play that is incredibly rare in the modern, highly regimented era of international rugby.
Very rare.
Their squad is an invitational mix of global players picked purely for form, reputation, and flair. The lineup is finalized incredibly close to match day, and the appetite for this is massive. Like last year, this exact fixture packed 45,000 fans into Cape Town Stadium.
People love to watch them play.
They do, but I'll be honest, looking at this matchup, it sounds completely suicidal. If the Springboks are a meticulously coded supercomputer, the Barbarians are a jazz band making it up as they go. Against a defensive structure that just blanked Italy 45-0, an improvised, unstructured game plan is going to get absolutely crushed, isn't it?
Well, what's fascinating here is that what looks like a glaring weakness, the Springboks' attacking style, the Barbarians' defensive style, is actually that deliberate lack of long-term structure, is actually the Barbarians' greatest offensive weapon.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because modern international rugby is entirely built on rigorous, exhaustive video analysis. International teams spend hundreds of hours studying opposition lineouts, defensive spacing, attacking patterns.
Right. They know every move before it happens.
Exactly. A structured team knows exactly what their opponent will do on the fourth phase inside the 22-meter line based on historical tape. But you cannot analyze a team that hasn't played together yet.
Oh, because there's no tape. There are no pre-existing attacking patterns to decode.
Exactly. Because the lineup and the tactics are assembled at the last minute, the Springboks are entirely stripped of their usual structural preparation. You have players from different countries bringing vastly different cultural rugby styles, all thrown into a blender by Scott Robertson.
And Robertson is a master of building cohesive team culture incredibly fast.
He really is. This scenario forces the Springboks into the ultimate test of adaptability. They can't rely on pre-programmed defensive reads. When a Barbarian player gets the ball, he might kick it, he might run it from his own try line, or he might throw a wild behind-the-back offload that no structured team would ever attempt.
Total chaos.
Total deliberate chaos. And that neutralizes the Springboks' analytical advantage.
So instead of playing a chess match against another grandmaster, the Springboks are suddenly in a street fight where the opponent is picking up the chessboard and throwing it at them.
That is a great way to put it. The Barbarians completely remove the predictable rhythm of the game. If there's anything a highly structured, suffocating defense hates, it's broken play and unpredictability.
Yeah.
It's the one style that can genuinely bypass a 95% capacity stadium's intimidation factor because the Babas are just out there having fun and expressing themselves. They don't carry the heavy psychological baggage of a regular national team trying to defend a world ranking.
Right, because the Barbarians don't care about world rankings. They are completely free to just play the game in its purest form. But for South Africa, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just an isolated exhibition. It is the launchpad for what might be the most grueling gauntlet of an international season in recent memory.
It's going to be a brutal schedule.
Which is exactly why we want you to jump into the comments right now. Who do you think is going to win this specific clash of styles in Gqeberha, and why? Do you back the Springboks' clinical structure or the Barbarians' absolute chaos?
I'd love to hear those predictions.
Same. So drop your predictions below and make sure you subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter so you don't miss any of our breakdowns as this season unfolds.
You really won't want to miss it.
Definitely not. Because looking at the schedule, Gqeberha is turning this kickoff into a massive festival of rugby. The day features a huge curtain raiser. The reserve squad, SAA, is taking on Zimbabwe, known as the Sables, who have successfully qualified for the 2027 Rugby World Cup.
Huge accomplishment for them. It's massive. On top of that, the Under-20 Sanzar Rugby Championship is currently kicking off in the very same stadium.
It's a full weekend of rugby.
Right. But right after this weekend, the reality of the calendar sets in. The Springboks dive straight into the New Nations Championship in July, where they'll be hosting England, Scotland, and Wales.
No easy matches there.
None. And if surviving 3 Northern Hemisphere heavyweights wasn't enough, they immediately follow that up with a massive 3-test series against the All Blacks in the rugby's greatest rivalries series, which is only played every 4 years.
Yeah, that is a real gauntlet.
So what does this all mean? With the Nations Championship and a historic, intensely physical All Black series looming right around the corner, I have to think there is a real danger the Springboks treat this Barbarians game and the SAA match as just a casual warm-up.
Oh, interesting.
Like a low-stakes way to stretch their legs before the real tactical battles begin.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, treating any of these fixtures as a casual warm-up is a luxury Rassie Erasmus simply cannot afford.
Not at all.
Yeah.
These matches are vital, highly calculated testing grounds. Look at that SAA curtain raiser against Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a World Cup-bound team. They're going to bring intense physicality and absolute desperation to the pitch because playing a South African side is a massive proving ground for their program.
That makes sense.
For Erasmus, putting his reserve squad against a highly motivated national team is the perfect crucible to test his wider squad depth.
Which is completely necessary because you cannot survive 3 Northern Hemisphere teams and a 3-test All Black series with just the starting 15.
Absolutely not.
The attrition rate of that schedule is going to be brutal.
Playing England, Scotland, and Wales back-to-back demands an immense physical toll. Transitioning straight from that into a 3-test series against the All Blacks is a gauntlet that guarantees injuries and fatigue.
Sadly, yes.
So the SAA match allows the coaching staff to identify exactly which fringe players can step up to international intensity when those inevitable injuries happen. And the Barbarians match serves the exact same diagnostic purpose for the senior squad.
Really? In what way?
Well, you do not want to find out that your defensive structure struggles to adapt to chaotic, unstructured play when you are down by 6 points against the All Blacks in the 78th minute of a crucial test. You want to stress test your team's adaptability right now.
So the Barbarians are essentially the ultimate sparring partner.
Yes.
They are guaranteed to throw offensive punches from angles the Springboks have never seen on film, which forces the Springbok defense to evolve, communicate better under pressure, and solve problems in real time.
Especially with Scott Robertson pulling the strings.
Yeah.
I mean, Robertson is one of the most innovative tactical minds on the planet. Even with an invitational side, he will absolutely be probing for structural weaknesses in the Springbok defensive line.
He's hunting for flaws.
Always. Rassie Erasmus actively wants this specific test. He wants his players placed in uncomfortable, completely unpredictable situations in front of a demanding 44,000-strong home crowd in Gqeberha. If the Springboks can maintain their composure and hold their structure against the chaotic flair of the Barbarians, they will be mentally and tactically armored for the grinding battles against the Northern Hemisphere teams in July and the high-octane transitional threat of the All Blacks in August.
That reframes the entire day. It's not just a celebration of rugby with the U20s and the SAA squad in town. It is a highly deliberate calibration of the Springbok machine, using the chaos of the Barbarians to fine-tune their own defensive structure before the real war begins.
It is. And this raises an important question as we look toward kickoff. If the Barbarians do manage to do the impossible, if they step into the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium, completely embrace the chaos, and actually break the Springboks' undefeated streak using that unstructured, expressive style, well, will that give teams like England, Scotland, or the All Blacks a brand new blueprint on how to dismantle the Springboks later this summer?
Oh, man. If the fortress falls to a jazz band, every coach in the world is going to start taking music lessons. We want to know where you stand on this. Will the Barbarians expose a crack in the armor that the rest of the world can exploit? Or will the Gqeberha fortress hold strong? Jump into the comments and give us your predictions for this clash and the upcoming season.
Can't wait to read them.
And, as a final reminder, if you want to follow the Springboks through this massive gauntlet of a year, please subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.